Thank you very much, Maddie, for that incredible speech. It's really made my day. Moving back to paper speakers, we turn to proposition, and we go to Chidera Eggerue, better known as the Sunflower. She's an author and an advocate who rose to popularity from her viral movement, #SaggyBoobsMatter. Since then, her first book, What a Time to Be Alone, led to her becoming a #1 Sunday Times bestselling author. You have the eyes and the ears of the house.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. When I was approached to be part of this debate, I was incredibly delighted because the title, This House Believes the Internet Has Ruined Sex, really stood out to me because my first thought actually was it the internet that ruined sex or was it men? But then when we expand into that further, there's room to explore the possibility that within this particular conversation, the internet and men can be used interchangeably, especially given recent events like, has anyone seen the new Ashley Madison Netflix documentary? We got some yeses and some no's. So for those who are not familiar with Ashley Madison as a concept, it is a dating app/website that was made for married people who want to cheat. I know, right? But what's interesting about it is this particular documentary unfolds and exposes the actual reality and fabric of this particular website, the men that built it and their intentions behind how they wanted to market it. So one thing that stood out to me was how for men to use the platform, they had to pay by purchasing tokens in order to respond to messages sent to them by women. But for the women using Ashley Madison, they didn't have to pay anything because they were the product. And what's fascinating about that to me is when we observe dating apps as a particular concept, given recent times we're living in where we're witnessing a very interesting exhaustion towards dating apps, especially Gen Z, it makes us really pay attention to the fact that there is something strange happening about access to sex and how that, to a certain degree, devalues sex. I don't know about you, but when I used to be on dating apps, I was sold by the marketing that you can just create an account and within moments you'll be able to connect with someone and hopefully you can spawn a romantic love story. But my experience, much like many other women, was maybe 10 minutes into having a profile, I'd be asked if I would be willing to show my tits, which is quite disappointing given that I was told I'm gonna find love. This isn't what I signed up for. But I think also what makes this conversation deeply fascinating is that yes, access to sex through the internet has in a way devalued it, and that's how I interpret the phrase, the internet has ruined sex. We're living in an age where people want connection, people want to be a part of something, and I don't know if the people in this room are familiar with the recent Bumble scandal, but basically, Bumble decided to do a big rebrand that they really built up a lot of momentum for, only for them to release billboards saying, "You sure know celibacy isn't the answer?" Or, "Thou shalt not give up dating to become a nun." Basically implying that we as women, who are the obvious product of this app that's being sold to men, we as women should not give men less of a chance to take advantage of us, and we should instead hang on to the hope that we will find love and men will just naturally adjust and change for us, when the reality deep down is we have got to change the way that we approach putting ourselves out there, especially as women who are largely harmed by the internet's ruining of sex. Another thing that really stands out to me is the recent situation that Taylor Swift experienced with her image being used to generate sexual imagery through artificial intelligence. That to me is incredibly scary, and AI is something that is very new, and we are still in our current lifetime exploring and discovering its capabilities. But when AI gets into the wrong hands, i.e. the hands of lonely, misogynistic, sexless, undesirable men, We see situations like said men using women's faces and identities to create sex. And the sad thing about this, as much as we can giggle, is there are stories available that you can read up on the internet of young women taking their lives because their images have been used to create sexual AI, and that has resulted in them either losing respect from their parents or worse, them just feeling completely desecrated and dehumanized. And so where do we go with this? Because we could stay here and discuss all the ways that the internet has ruined sex and the ways that it hasn't, but there is still a massive elephant in the room, being that the more and more we are given sexual access to women, and the more that that access is devalued and made more and more available, the more that men are going to take advantage of it. So when we're living in a world where men feel like it's okay to take advantage of women's sexual availability, and at the same time we're living in a world where women are sold the hope of falling in love and marketed this dream that one day you will find the one, there is a clashing pair of concepts at hand here where men deep down do expect sex from women, and women are still deep down expecting love from men. So to wrap up my argument, yes, I do believe that the internet has in fact ruined sex, because the internet has granted men more access to women, and as a result, they feel more entitled to sex. Thank you for listening.